Hello, and welcome to an episode of Science with Supergirl. We'll be grabbing things that you can find around your house to do some really fun science experiments we can all learn together while we're inside right now. And so before doing any of the science experiments in the videos, just make sure that you have someone who is older than you watching you and making sure that you're safe and everything goes well. And learning with other people is always way more fun than learning by yourself. And so our first video, we're actually going to learn about something called density. And so have you ever thrown a rock in a lake and noticed that the rock just falls down to the bottom of the water? But then when you're in a bathtub and you put your favorite rubber ducky, somehow the rubber ducky doesn't just sink to the bottom of your tub, it kind of floats. And so things like that can actually be explained with something that we call density. And so the rock falling down to the bottom of the lake is actually because it's more dense. And the rubber ducky that's floating in your bathtub, it floats because it's actually less dense. And so density is basically how much stuff is pushed together real tight and super squished together. And so the best way I can explain that to you is, have you ever had story time in class and the teacher gathers all of your friends around and you're all sitting on a carpet getting really close and snuggly so you can hear what the teacher is saying, and you're all super excited and want to hear every single word she says because you just want to know what happens to the princess or the superhero. And so you are basically so close with your friends that if you just stick out your hand on either side, there'll be someone around you that you'll be hitting. Well, that's kind of like how molecules are in things that are more dense. They're more compact together, and they are just super squeezed together and have almost little room to move around, versus when it's recess and you're out with your friends, you're outside on the playground and there's so much space and you can run around and wave your arms around and there's absolutely almost no one around and you can chase each other and you have all this free space and energy just to run around the playground. Well, that would be something that's a little bit less dense. Molecules and substances that are less dense can actually move around more. And so that's a great way of just trying to figure out and put in your mind what density is. And so basically what we'll be doing in this experiment is that you'll need a soda bottle, you'll need some hand soap, which I have right here in my little panda hand soap. You'll need 1 cup of oil, so it can be like vegetable oil, cornstarch oil, and we'll have 1 cup of water. So I actually don't have another cup, but what I do have is 3/4 cup of water and 1/4 cup of water, which equals 1 cup of water altogether. And you'll actually need some food coloring as well. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to open up our bottle and we're going to pour our water in first. So this can be a little tricky. Just be really careful. You can easily spill it around everywhere. So I put 3/4 cup of water. So how much more cups of water would I need for 1 cup? Yep, you were right, 1/4 cup of water. So here's my other 4th cup of water. And now we're gonna add some food coloring in it. So I have blue, red, green, and yellow. What color do you think I should use? Did you say green? Okay. Yeah, I heard green. I'll definitely use the green one. So we put a couple of drops. You don't need too much, just a couple of drops is good. Let me just squeeze it on up. Okay, now we close our bottle, make sure it's really tight so we don't spill anything, and we mix it. We mix it really, really good. See how my water looks green now? Awesome. And now we're going to add 1 cup of oil. and then I close it like this. So see how you have the green water and you have the yellow oil on top? So what would happen if I mix this bottle? So after mixing it, you can see that there's a layer that's still forming on top. It's a little bubbly, but you can see that there's a green layer and an oil layer. And the reason why this happens is because the water is actually more dense than the oil on top. And because the oil is less dense, it actually forms its own layer and sticks on top of the water. Similar to how you have the rubber ducky that floats on top of the water in your bathtub. So that's really cool that you can form two layers because these things are less dense. But what would happen if we pour some of soap into it? And so this is the same soap that you use to just wash your hands every day. You always hear people say, hey, wash your hands lately. So we're putting some soap in here. And now we're gonna mix it and squish it around. And we have bubbles. And you can see that everything is settling. And you can see that there's just bubbles and there's no two layers being formed between the water and the soap. And so the reason for that is because oil doesn't really like water. It's this big word that we call hydrophobic, which means like phobia, like when you're scared of something, and hydro meaning water, so it's scared of water. So not only is oil less dense, it also is really scared of water and doesn't really want to get mixed in there. It wants to step away a little bit from it. But soap actually likes both water and oil. And so what the soap does, it actually kind of interacts or messes with both of them. And so we get this same mixture and there's no more layers being formed. And that's why soap is so important when washing your hands. It can get rid of oils from your hands, it can get rid of oils from your clothes, from your dishes, which is why your mom uses a little bit of the dish soap when cleaning. And so this just shows you how important soap is and why every time you wash your hands, you should be using some soap with that as well. I know that you've been hearing a lot more lately, wash your hands, but that's just because your loved ones are really worried about you, like your mom and your dad and your sister. So just make sure to not just wash your hands with water, but to also use a little bit of soap as well. And so I hope you learned a little bit more about density and how oil's a little bit scared of water and how amazing soap is as well. Thank you.